Hello to all of my BPTV viewers and fans, YouTube viewers and fans. Thanks for watching another By Request with my co-producer, Jessica Lee, and of course, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. We've done many of these shows and we took a little summer hiatus, and I'm excited to come back. And Jess has a great show planned. Let me bring her on to have you tell us about it. Jess, hello.
Al, hello, and it's good to be back after taking a little bit of a summer vacation. And what are you drinking?
Oh, let me sip my loose leaf green tea. It's a special brand, Lung Ching fourth grade. And the
Okay,
emperors of
man,
China used to drink it. Oh, some water.
I got some sparkling water today. So to your health, huh? To your
Sip
health,
by sip to your
sip by
health and
sip.
all of yours. And I hope you enjoy what we're going to talk about, because I'm going to tunnel into it right now with Jessica Lee.
So, Al, by request, we've had a lot of requests still coming in. We started this show, as many of you know, during the pandemic when people were requesting songs, and I would play and sing them. And we've had an interesting summer where we've been able to get outside, and I was able to find a really amazing entrepreneur this summer and a really amazing venue. And I'm going to not say too much more. I want to bring in our good friend Krish to speak with you, Al, and with everybody who's watching about the Woods House Pittsburgh. And if you haven't heard of it yet, you have to Google it. Woods House Pittsburgh. Amazing. Let's just let's just get to our featured innovator today. By request, I had the chance to sing this summer outdoors on their unbelievable patio. And I will tell you more about that as we talk with Krish. It was a fantastic, almost magical experience. It's just so beautiful out there. And Al, what do you say we meet Krish? Do you want to welcome him in?
Yes, with a little bit, I got to add to it. I'm a huge history guy, and the Woods House is just one of my dreams come true in Pittsburgh. Without further ado, let's bring on Krish.
Al and Jessica, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about the Woods House and the journey that was to get it from a very bad state to an excellent state back to the people of Pittsburgh. So
Well, Krish, the first thing I want to say is that this summer, having the chance to perform and sing outdoors with guitar great Mark Strickland on your back patio was fantastic. And the view you have of the city is like, wow, back there. So, can you tell everybody where the Woods House Pittsburgh is and just give us a little bit of your startup story, the why you started it up and what it is, its mission?
absolutely, and I think it's good that we start off with the point, where is the Woods House, because it's a big question. A lot of the people in Pittsburgh don't know that it even exists. The Woods House is located in Hazelwood, Pittsburgh. It is the oldest standing house in Pittsburgh, built in 1792, and it sits across from the banks of the Monongahela and overlooks what is called Mill 19, which was the old J&L Steelworks. So a lot of history in this neighborhood, and history dating back to 220 years, but also the history of Pittsburgh with the steel making, and the house has really stood the test of time. So that's just from a location perspective. You access this house from Oakland, from downtown, from Southside, from Second Avenue, and the East End. It's all within 10 or 15, depending on where you're coming from.
Yeah, now tell everybody a little bit about what's unique about the food and drink as well.
Yeah, and I think to understand the concept, you have to go back to the history of the house and what we were trying to do with it. The Woods family was of Scottish descent. They were living in Ireland in the 1760s and 50s, and they migrated to this country in 1750s. They lived in Bedford, PA. They kept their Scottish heritage, and when we had the Revolutionary War, Colonel George Woods, as he was called, he fought with George Washington. He was the surveyor in the Revolutionary War. after the war, the Woods family was given about 1,000 acres along the river in Monongahela, along the Monongahela River in Hazelwood. And that portion of Hazelwood essentially became a magnet for Scottish immigrants. So it used to be called the Scotch Bottom of Pittsburgh. And a lot of the immigrants for the first 50 to 100 years came from Scotland. They were also, you have to realize, this was 100 years before Carnegie. There were no steel mills, there was no running water, there was no electricity. So life was very different in Hazelwood. It used to be called the Scotch Bottom. And so when we started looking at bringing the house back and coming up with a business concept, we said we have to try and keep the house, but we also have to try and maintain some of the Scottish heritage. Now, understand that Hazelwood has changed, Pittsburgh has changed, and we got a lot of different cultures and we got a lot of different tastes. So what we tried to do was first create a pub with a little bit of a Scottish accent. So that's the reason for the Scottish themed pub, but it's a pub which is really meant to, it's meant to be inclusive and have everybody. So that's in a nutshell. So let me just stop there and see what, if you have any questions.
It's fantastic. I just wanted you to say a word about the culinary side before we slip over to a song and come on back to you. The culinary side, I think you have worked with maybe Community Kitchen Pittsburgh and some others. Talk about your chef and your food for a moment.
Excellent. No, thank you. So one of the things we wanted to do when we brought the pub back is first we said, what can we do from the neighborhood? And that we reached out to the Community Kitchen that is in Hazelwood. They do some wonderful work for the community. They do events, and we reached out to them. We asked for help. We talked about our concept, and they really assigned Chef Travis Torcell, who was at that time a chef trainer at the Community Kitchen. And he joined, he came on, we sat together, we told him about the concept. And then whatever you see right now, that's his baby. He's developed it. He said, we want pub food, we want, bangers and mash, we want local flavor. And we really let him essentially go through and create a pub menu with a few Scottish items, but with items that everybody would enjoy. So we have fish and chips, bangers and mash, mussels, salads, all those things. But you will see a little bit of Scottish theme everywhere. So that's really what drove the whole menu.
So Krish, we're going to slip away for a moment to a song, and this song is something that a lot of people think about. It's a classic song that was requested, and it's something that a lot of people think about when people do things their own way with their own vision. When we come back, if you could tell us a little bit about the construction and the renovation, that would be fantastic. But Al, what do you think we slip away to one quick song?
Let's do it right now, Jess.
Hey everybody, this is Jessica Lee stopping by to sing a song by request. This is My Way. This is for a special friend who's a Latin dancer, and he sings, and he's going to be performing this song and more with Latin rhythms. I'm going to change the song up just a bit and do a spirit jazz version. Instead of singing My Way, I will be singing Thy Way. And by request, for all the singers, the dancers, the musicians who have been having a tough time during the pandemic, here's to better days. And this is for my friend, My Way. And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this. did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exception. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, with never doubts, I ate it up, I spit it out. I feasted on, and I stood tall, and I did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing, and now as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it that way. Oh, what is a girl? What has she got? If not herself, then she has not to say the things she truly feels. In other words, someone who needs the record shows that took the blows. I did it my way. With you that way.
Jessica Lee, what an amazing twist to My Way. I actually loved Thy Way, and I listened to the whole song. Your piano playing was excellent. The little bit at the end, you know, I enjoy that. Thank you so much for all of our fans and myself. I really enjoyed it. And Frank Sinatra, I was a huge fan of Frank Sinatra and My Way, and it sort of became like a semi-theme to me growing up as a young man. So this ties in so much with Krish. I'll just give a couple little things. You gave some information out to us. It's music by Jacques Rivaux and Claude Francois. And the lyrics are by, you might have heard of this guy, Paul Anka. And it was 1968 that he wrote the song, listen to this, exclusively for Frank Sinatra. And he argued with him not to do it, but it became his theme. So what a great kickoff to Krish. Jess, I'll let you reintroduce Krish.
So, Krish, you have the Woods House Pittsburgh, and you just opened the Woods House. When was the opening? And tell us a little bit about how you did it your way, the renovation leading up to the opening day.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. Great question. We actually tried to open in November, right when things started shutting down. So I would say we tried to open in November and we were shut down. Then we tried to open back in December and we were shut down. And then we opened again in January, February with 50% capacity just to get everything going and get things moving. And it was really around May when I would say we opened or completely opened and we had full capacity. We had a staff, we had a menu and so on. So I would say we've been open from May onwards.
What was it like renovating this very old home? I mean, your renovation, people have to go just to see how beautiful it is. You have a patio outdoors, you have a balcony above the patio, you have beautiful indoor spaces. What was it like to renovate that particular structure, Krish?
It was, I want to say it was a challenge, but it was not a challenge because the elements of the house that you just described were already there. It's not that we tried to recreate. What we did was bring the house back. And when you come to the house, you'll see it feels like a house, right? The floor's like a house. It's a tiny stone house. It's got a basement where they used to cook the food, which was warm, has a fire in the basement. So we decided to put the main pub, the bar in the basement so that it's warm, people can sit and have drinks. And we have a more formal dining room upstairs on the first floor, which was the living room. This being a national landmark, a state landmark, and a city landmark, the rehab was, I would say, very detailed oriented, long. We hired Indovina Associates as an architect designer, and we went through a very detailed process to get 80-90% of the designs done, approved by the city, approved by the state, approved by the National Park Service, and then a series of checks and by all these historic societies. So it was challenging. There was some real constructibility issues, being a 220-year house that we were trying to bring back to city code. So we had to be innovative. It was challenging, and we had to work with a lot of different agencies to make it happen. So hopefully, when everybody comes here, whoever comes here sees that this has been a labor of love, and our hope is that this house flourishes and stays like it is for the next 200 years.
Well, Krish, I think it's just a wonderful environment. There's an aura there it's really wonderful, and you were able to do some outdoor live performances.
Yes.
And the back patio, which does overlook the river and the city, not that far from the Hot Metal Bridge of the South Side and all of that. Tell everybody about what your hopes are to connect with the musician community, the arts community, the broader community as you move into the next year.
No, absolutely. And, again, I'm going to say something, which is I'm not inventing something. This house has a musical heritage, has had a musical heritage. Stephen Foster was a friend of John Wood's, and a lot of Stephen Foster's songs were composed in the living room, which I'm looking at right now across from the bar here. There was a piano, so there was a musical heritage. And when I was rehabbing the house, it was very clear to me that bring back the history of the house, you bring back the architectural stuff, but you could also bring back the music in the house. And that's what we want to do. We want to be able to do it in a way that's inclusive, includes all different types of musicians and genres, focus on Pittsburgh artists. So that's the reason, when we met Jessica, we met about a couple of months ago. We said, how do we get this started? Right? We're trying to start up the menu, we're trying to start up the staff, the food, the drinks, but we did not want to leave the music behind. So we were it was great that we were able to use the outdoor space we have. We have a patio that accommodates 40 people, it's outside. We have lots of open space, and it's really a great venue for musicians to come perform in a relaxed manner. And our crowd, our patrons that have come, have really enjoyed it. They're not in a hurry. They sit down, they listen, and it's been great. So we've had performances, I would say, every other Saturday in summer, and we probably have a few more. But next year we'll have a more organized approach to musical performances, and we really want to make sure that this house becomes a place for good food, family, for fun, and music.
Well, on that note, let's slip away for one more requested song, Krish. This is a song called Songbird, and it's a song for musicians. Who sings for Songbird is one of the lines in the song. This was requested by a saxophone great. And so we'll slip away to this, and then if you don't mind hanging around, we'd love to talk to you a little bit about the future and private events. Do you do private events there? What does that look like? Your hours, how people contact you, and just kind of some things that look to the next little bit of time, the very immediate future. So we're going to slip away. Al, do you want to just say a word as we go to Songbird and come back to Krish to talk about other ways people can engage with Woods House, Pittsburgh?
Yes, I just want to co-sign that the mission here was complete. Being a history guy, it looks like it's back in 1792 with modern features, and the outside is just unbelievable. And I'm excited to go there. The neighborhood is changing for the better. Just wanted to share that, because if you hear Hazelwood, all you think is Mills. There's much more than Mills, especially with what Krish did. Let's go to Songbird right now.
This is Jessica Lee, here by request. A great saxophonist and great friend of mine asked me to put out a live version of this song for everybody during the pandemic. This is a song called Songbird. It's for all the musicians and singers who make the music. The last line of the song asks the question, who sings for Songbird? So for all my musician friends, singer friends, this is a Songbird by request. Songbird sings from the heart. Each word can tear you apart. I sing, you sing along. You'll find your life in my song. When you need the strength to carry on, you've got me to turn to. With the songs that I sing and the magic they bring, they've helped you be strong now. My song sets you free, but who sings for me? I'm all alone now. Who sings for Songbird? Sometimes when I'm all alone, I sing my saddest song. Lonely, no one can see. This time the song is for me. I can touch your secret place inside, and still you don't know me. With the songs that I sing and the magic they bring, they've helped you be strong now. The song sets you free, but who sings for me? I'm all alone now. Who sings for Songbird? Songbird.
And Songbird, another great performance by Jessica Lee on piano. The singing was wonderful. This was written and performed by Christine McVie of Fleetwood Mac, and I remember it in 1977 on the album Rumors. And it was one, no?
So that's a different songbird. Yeah, so you have to be really careful. The songbirds, yeah.
I
So
apologize.
yeah, there are two really famous ones. This one actually, you'll see the writers on the in the credits and all of that on our show today. But Eva Cassidy, who died at 33 years old, and she sang with many jazz greats, but she also had quite a following of her own. She was a wonderful singer. She was based more in the Virginia, Washington, D.C. area. She did a beautiful version of this song, Songbird, and many others, but it's often confused, Al. That's very often the case with the other songbird. So you just have to be careful that you look and see
I
which one it is.
apologize officially. I
This
listened
one-
to Eva sing because you turned me on to Eva about 7-8 years ago. Her voice, even though I misspoke about her and went for the Fleetwood Mac, her voice is actually magical to me.
Yeah, and this was requested. We want to thank everybody for all the song requests. Keep them coming. We're going to continue to do them and then feature an innovator like Krish on the show each time we do a show. This was requested by a beautiful saxophonist, Jay Willis, who has been fighting COPD during the pandemic. And you know, so many of the songbirds, the musicians, they say, well, who sings for us? So that was especially for him and for everybody fighting health challenges out there. We just send this good song and good wishes out to everybody. And Jay has been one of our jazz legends, and he's fighting that COPD. And I hear he's going to be coming out playing some saxophone. So let's go back to Krish, because I'd like to hear Jay Willis play the saxophone at the Woods House, Pittsburgh.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. Krish, talk to us. We wanted to come back to you about events. Do you do private events?
We absolutely do hold private events. We have had weddings, we've had happy hours, we've had private dinner functions here. We've got an opportunity to shut certain spaces down and allow people a very private experience of the house. The best way to reach us would be through our website, which is www.woodshousepgh.com. You can make reservations from the website. You can send me direct email messages with inquiries and your contact information, and I'll get back to you. We are also on Resy, so you can find us on Resy and make reservations. And on Facebook, you can find us on Facebook and send messages and we'll get back to you. So we're looking forward. We're hoping that the Woods House becomes a more familiar name in Pittsburgh. We're quite unknown at this time, but just like most of the historic places in Pittsburgh are known to Pittsburghers, hopefully the Woods House is one of them as well.
Yeah, and Krish, can you say a word? I think on the river itself, very near to the Woods House, Pittsburgh, is a relatively new complex where Carnegie Mellon is and all that. Can you just say a word about what that is so people make the connection?
Sure. No, so there used to be J&L Steel across from the river. And this, just to give you a little bit of context, this was 100 years after the house was built, when industry actually came to Monongahela and across that strip of land. So the building right now is called Mill 19, and Carnegie Mellon has actually moved into that facility and built an advanced manufacturing institute for robotics. It's fully functional, and the whole idea is to have new manufacturing in an old skeleton. So when you drive by it, you'll almost think it is a empty shell with a steel structure and with nothing going on. But if you take a second look, you will see that it is a fully functional advanced manufacturing institute, which Carnegie Mellon is invested a lot of time. And the whole idea is, the intention is to bring back manufacturing to the United States and into Pittsburgh. So a lot of exciting things happening. One more mention, there is also a startup incubator called One Valley, which has moved into the Strip area. It is a California-based startup, which has a co-working space, and the intent is to bring a lot of new Pittsburgh tech startups to work there and develop new companies. So a lot of exciting things happening in Hazelwood.
So in 2022, I think there's going to be lots of opportunity for networking events and other types of things for people who are innovators, entrepreneurs, community leaders at the Woods House Pittsburgh. You really have a great location in an emerging area.
Oh, thank you for that. Absolutely. And we look forward to kind of having a new Hazelwood, which creates all the innovation in Pittsburgh that's happening around the different neighborhoods. We're excited to see Hazelwood become part of that. So
that's right. Part of the ecosystem of innovation.
Part of the exactly innovative ecosystem. So
Al, you get the final word here with Krish. Krish, thank you so much for being a featured innovator on this By Request show. People love to hear about new places to go, new drinks to try, new food to try. I highly recommend everybody who's been watching the By Request show and requesting songs during the pandemic, I highly recommend that you go to the internet and Google Woods, WOODS, House, Pittsburgh, and you will find Krish, woodshousepgh.com. You have to stop by. So on a weekend day is a great time to do it. And Al, you get the final word. Thank you so much for continuing to host and produce the By Request show.
Oh, thank you, Jess. You know, I got to add a couple words. First, thank you, Krish, for being a great guest. I'm looking forward to going back to visit your place, and also with Jessica Lee and some more music, and even see some of the other musical people that come out. And your food, I can't wait to try it. So for all of you out there, go out there. It's a fantastic place, and it's just going to grow. This is the baby steps that they are taking, and we're honored to be able to help you. And this song just had a theme that it's all about Krish. So this song is Right Place, Right Now on the Monongahela.
Sun's gonna bend, birds are tripping in the trees. Love's floating in on the magnolia breeze. I'm telling the world I feel like taking a bow. I'm in the right place right now. Been to Jamaica and all it did was rain. A table for one in Paris ain't the same. 3 days in Vegas, all the luck was out of town. I'm in the right place right now. Tomorrow the world will stop spinning. The stars will fall right out of the sky. Maybe I'll wake up, find you've been a dream. At least I'll be waking up with a smile. Must have been heaven that was rolling my dice. It sure was a 7 when you walked into my life. Here in your arms, there's not a shadow of a doubt. I'm in the right place right now. Tomorrow of the sky. Maybe we'll wake up and it's all been a dream. But if that ain't true, me and you got a whole lot of loving left to do. Here in your arms, there's not a shadow of a doubt. So baby, come over here, let's turn the lights out. I'm in the right place right now. I'm in the right place right now.